Hey everyone, Sophie, also known as SMG, and I'm here with X will Mark the Place.
Hey, how you doing? My name's Eric.
So I'm just gonna dive right in. You started this project during COVID.
Yeah.
What was the idea that got this going?
I've been wanting to do a hardcore project for years, ever since I got into it, which was about 2014, I want to say. But yeah, I've always wanted to do a hardcore punk project, and in the past year or so, I've gotten more into like dark wave, new wave stuff. So I wanted to incorporate some of that dancey element into hardcore, and introduce it in a way that like is still aggressive and people can just like lose their shit like live, you know?
Yeah. Have you played in other bands before this?
Just one, Death and Master Stars.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my brothers in my band. We started it back in 2012 and have been doing it since. More like on a local level, but it's a different style of music, so it's like progressive, post-hardcore, but we like incorporate like elements of like salsa, merengue, and stuff like that.
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Being like from like Puerto Rican descent.
I was gonna say, where are you from?
Yeah, 100% Puerto Rican.
Okay,
and
nice.
then we introduced all that like all those elements into that music and stuff. Still active band, but just started this out of I guess you could say boredom last year. Like I don't know, like things are very dead at work and like just like in downtime. So I wanted to make something of that time, and do something like more like as like a creative outlet. And I found it with it, and I'm still enjoying writing for it and stuff like that.
You wanted to start a project that was more hardcore. What are some hardcore bands that kind of influence this and that you look up to?
Cool. Hardcore wise, I would say Bib for sure.
Yeah.
Bib is towards the top of the list. Show Me the Body for sure. But just in general, like I've always just gravitated towards hardcore punk. I do love the fast and two-step elements of those couple of bands, and the noise aspect of like Show Me the Body, and they can incorporate whatever kind of sounds they want into it. So those two are like the driving influence behind this band. Yeah.
So you only have one EP out called Babel. What was the idea behind that, and what are the meanings behind those songs?
So Babel, the title of the EP was the very last thing I actually came up with. I kind of came up with it on the spot because I was listening to this band called Turner Joy, and I was just like heavy into them last year, and I wanted to kind of pay homage to that record that I found. It's called Transplant. They have a song on the record called Babel, and I really wanted to use that in some light with my project, and I found it fitting because I had so much I wanted to write about in the EP. That each song just felt like I was just spewing words out. Like I feel like it's just nonstop. Like I'm just talking, like screaming out all my ideas and stuff that I wanted to say out in the EP. So that's where that kind of came from. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a very interesting word that you don't really hear much from. So that was like one of the first things that caught my attention. I just want to highlight. I can never remember the name of the song. Yeah. But the song "I Am Untethered" and "My Rage Knows No Bounds." Yeah. I just want to say that horn scared the fuck out of me when I was listening to that shit in my car.
I don't care, just get the fuck out the way.
I was just driving, on my way to work, and I hear a honking. I kind of have a little bit of road rage, so I quickly turned around to see who honked at me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "I don't think that was in the song." So I had to like replay it, and like I stopped. And I'm like, "That's pretty cool." So I want to know what inspired kind of putting in those environmental sounds like into that song.
So that song specifically, song title wise, first off, that's a quote from Dennis Reynolds, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay.
He like goes on this huge rant on this guy talking about how he wants to sell his like Jeep that's in the water behind him, whatever. And the guy is just like, it's a good starter car for my daughter, and he just flies off the handle, like he just like loses his shit, and it's like, and he ends up saying that last line to cap off his whole speech of like just freaking out on this guy. But the song itself is about like just bad drivers. It was the last song I wrote for the EP, so I wanted to kind of have a little more fun with it as opposed to like the more serious topics on the EP. So for that song, I just wanted to talk about how shitty drivers are, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I do have like a little bit of road rage too, so like that's where like honestly the lyrics like kind of like hone in on. Yeah, like exactly. That's where it's
awesome.
From. Yeah.
So with your songs, are there any meaning behind it? Is it based out of like stuff you've experienced? Like this in this case, the song was more for fun. So
yeah. Aside from that song, I mean, the first song, Burn, is about just kind of like letting people know that online personas don't really dictate who a person is, and it certainly doesn't dictate who I am. So like if I ever say anything online or anything like that, or if I ever had in the past, like I don't want that to be like, people just be like, okay, he said this one thing, he's just like this person, you know what I mean?
Right.
No matter what it is, like it could be anything. People have opinions on what anyone says. The second song is about it's like kind of focuses on just like talking out against abusers and stuff like that, kind of speaking out against them, like telling them like, hey, you know, you do this shit, fuck you, like, you know what I mean, like don't be doing anything that a woman doesn't consent to. You know what I mean? Keep your hands to yourself. That's like one of the,
you for doing that.
One of like those like prominent lines in that song. Like you keep your hands to yourself. Like I keep my thoughts to myself. That's one of the lines in the song. And it's just me spewing out my hate for that shit. You know. So, and then the last song's about anxiety. Whether it's like just anxiety, anxiousness, or just like shitty thoughts you have, like if you get stuck in like kind of like a mindset and you're just like stuck there in the moment, you can't find a way out. That song's about describing that moment and trying to break out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, props to you for using your platform towards, you know, speaking about things that matter, because we all know there's a lot of artists out there that don't do that. You know, just don't give a fuck about shit. Yeah. But you do have a new single coming out November 17th called Panhead/Pain. Anything you can highlight about the song? Is it a little hush-hush or anything you can talk about?
Yeah, so it's actually two songs. First song's Panhead. That's an original track that me and my band wrote before our first show back in July. It's very different in comparison to the EP. It's got guitar in it as opposed to which is the EP is just bass and drum and vocals. So I introduced guitar into this track. I introduced more heavy bassy synths, more of a droney sound, new style of vocals on this one. You got more high-pitched screams on it. It's a really fun track. It's the one I'm most excited about.
Okay.
I can't wait for everybody to hear it. And then the other song, Pain, is just a cover by a band called Boy Harsher.
Okay.
Another like artist that I really got into during like last year, like the pandemic and everything like that, along with all the other dark wave, new wave bands I got into. And that track really stood out to me, and I know it's one that I know like at least like a good amount of people in the hardcore scene kind of at least know a little bit about.
Right.
So like when they see it live, you know, that they have fun with it. I know I've had a few people come to me like, hey, that Boy Harsher cover's sick. You know?
Nice.
So I can't wait to get that out too and just have people like listen to that version of it because it's like my own take on it.
Right.
Yeah. Makes it
so
fun.
you've only played a handful of shows, 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've been to all of them. But I just want to know what I have, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
you
awesome.
have.
I want to know, what's your favorite show you played so far? I mean, I know that you started this during COVID, so until recently you just started getting back into playing shows.
Yeah.
But which one was most memorable?
Honestly, all of them. All of them are fun to me. They all have their own special place in my heart.
Right.
The last one was, I mean, I love energetic shows. I love when people throw down and shit, and I enjoy that sense of community when it comes to anything along those lines. So that Pilsen show was really awesome. That was with Habitats and La Rosa Noir, Daybreaker, and See Let's Get It.
Fuck yeah.
It was a stacked lineup, super fun. I love the spot too. That was my first time at Pilsen DIY. Shout out to Julian, by the way, who runs that place. And shout out to Louie for inviting me to play that show, because that was
an insane
just a fun
show.
time. It was a fun time. All the homies were there, and it was just like,
everyone went hard during that show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to add? Any upcoming shows?
We got a couple shows in the works. We'll be announcing those shortly. Stay tuned for that. But the main thing is just those 2 songs coming out, Panhead and Pain, coming out November 17th.
Fuck yeah. All right, I think that's it. Dude,
cool.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Go check them out. I will make sure to leave all their links